la argos, matossa.
Hello, I'm Julian Pettifer. In this program, I'll be taking a look at a British company that has quite literally moved most of us into the 20th century. A company that first came to this country at a time when the motor car was little more than an expensive toy for the rich and the reckless. A company whose relationship with this country always has been rather special.
The year is 1931. And the giant new Ford factory is rising from the marshlands of East London. The British roots of this enterprising company go back to Manchester in 1911, where Ford pioneered popular motoring, an industry that was to usher in a new era of mobility and prosperity for Britain. But it was at Dagenham that thousands of workers, many of them highly skilled craftsmen, joined together to build the company we know today. A company contributing to the transport needs of our people in peacetime and in the fury of war. So, during the 1930s, Ford brought motoring within reach of British families, from royalty to the rush hour. To achieve this, Ford has always been leading the way in safety and technology, from hydraulic shock absorbers to safety glass. From outstanding ride and handling to the very latest mass production techniques. The very nature of family motoring was to change again in the 60s with the arrival of this car, the Cortina. An all-round winner from the High Street to the East African Safari Rally. By no means the last award Ford Motorsport would win for Britain.
I sort of came of age when Ford Motor Company were arriving in the big time of Grand Prix racing. In 1967, the arrival of the Ford Cosworth engine, its first ever victory in its first Grand Prix with Jim Clark at the wheel. Graham Hill won the World Championship the very next year. I won all 3 of my World Championships and 25 out of my 27 Grand Prix victories with the Ford Cosworth power unit. And there's been a lot of success in other kinds of motorsport. Sports car racing, rallying. Ford Motor Company won the World Cup rally in 1970. And of course there was great performances by people like Roger Clark in the Escort. And of course, touring car racing. Today, Andy Rouse is still winning with the Sierra. And many of the lessons that were learned from motor racing are being applied today to benefit the man in the street. Much of what I do in research and development for the company today has come from motorsport, and we're making better cars today than we've ever done in the history of the British motor industry.
And what about the people behind these world-famous British products? Well, today Ford is one of the top 30 employers in the country. Around 45,000 men and women work in 23 factories and offices all around the UK. It's a sort of huge family, which includes people with an extraordinary variety of roles and skills. To sell the cars, vans and tractors, there's a vast dealer network, which in itself employs more than 30,000 people. A further 100,000 work for its British suppliers of materials, components and services. To stay ahead, you need to invest in people. Training has always played a key role in Ford's long-term strategy, in developing new and technical skills among its own employees, dealers and suppliers. setting the pace then in European automotive design and engineering. Ford is spending over £110 million a year on research and development facilities here in Britain. Its designers, technicians and engineers are continually developing new and advanced technologies, using up-to-the-minute materials and equipment. And its technology with a purpose. Computer-aided design and manufacturing systems raise quality, lower costs, improve efficiency, and shorten the time period between a design concept and a finished product. And its technology with real benefits for the customer. For example, through improved engine performance and efficiency, through better ride and handling, making vehicles safer, more secure. Ford is the leader in the development of lean burn engines to reduce emissions and protect the environment. And it's made Dagenham the centre for Europe's most advanced range of diesel engines. Working hand in hand with British suppliers like Lucas Girling to produce this anti-lock braking system. Working with Ferguson to provide four-wheel drive for the Sierra. And with Cosworths to create performance racing engines for cars like the Sierra RS Cosworth. Ford is quite simply Britain's most successful motor manufacturer. And that manufacturing covers the whole process from the production of engines and components right through to the vehicles themselves. Since 1979, Ford has invested £1.6 billion in Britain, much of that going into manufacturing.
The one good thing about the Ford Motor Company is we don't assemble cars from abroad. We don't get kits of anybody. We build a car in the Ford Motor Company from start to finish.
And the spending continues, helping to make Ford plants some of the most advanced in Europe. In the use of robots, for example. More than 450 of them are now in UK plants. In the use of computer systems for jobs like scheduling, component supply and quality checking. All of the cars, vans and tractors produced by Ford in Britain have a high proportion of British content. On top of that, Ford itself exports engines, accessories, components and complete vehicles worth more than £1,000 million each year. In any one year, almost 500,000 Ford vehicles are sold here.
As a dealer, I depend on a quality product. Ford do produce a quality product. They're very proud of the fact they produce a quality product. But our customers have to be proud of the product that they buy. And I think they are. Just look, for example, at all the police forces that use our vehicles.
So for 75 years, Ford has committed itself to designing, developing, making and selling its products here. Its commitment to Britain runs deep. Ford and its dealers provide youth training for nearly 2,000 school leavers a year. £3 million goes to supporting academic research. And there's an extensive programme of help for the community, for charities and the disabled. And then there is conservation.
Conservation, like charity, must begin at home. And with the vast acreages surrounding their factories and their works and their offices, well, it could have become the Dagenham dustbin. But landscaping and the development of lakes and ponds and the planting of the right sort of trees has made it a paradise, not just for the workforce to come fishing and enjoy themselves, but also for the local wildlife, swans, ducks, coots, moor hens and everything else which makes the British countryside so special. From these small, well, I can't really call them small beginnings, there are the National Conservation Awards. These not only give a pat on the back to really good conservation projects, but also put seed capital exactly where it's needed in projects all the way across the countryside. And the award-winning film On the Verge of Life has given us all the chance to have a sideways, a very, very special look at the problems and potentialities of conservation on our motorway verges. And now Ford lead in one very special aspect of conservation, the prevention of pollution of the atmosphere, with the development of their lean burn engine. I wonder what they'll think of next.
It all makes for a remarkable picture, a picture that must be looked at in terms of a partnership that extends across Britain, throughout Europe and across the world. A partnership whose strengths lie in the international sharing of ideas, working together to develop new technologies, production quality, efficiency, imaginative marketing, and a first-class service for the customer, whether fleet or family. Even now, Ford's designers and engineers are hard at work on major new products that will transport Britain into the 21st century. The testing goes on every day and night. And the ideas keep flowing. New and sophisticated equipment makes it possible for these ideas to be developed and realized. As investment in new products and the facilities to manufacture those products in Britain continues, it's clear that Ford is fully committed to the future.